growth is a challenge for organizations, and depending on where you're at in the organization, what part of the organization you're involved with, that growth can mean different things. And when you have rapid growth, 30+%, like Intuitive experience for a long period of time, it's a great thing. The downside of that rapid growth is that mistakes that you make during that growth period can sometimes be masked by that rapid growth. And so what you don't realize is that as you're going through that incredible growth period, that there's probably a lot of mistakes being made that are being masked by that extreme advancement. And when it really starts to catch up with you is actually when your growth slows down. I think some of the areas that we started to see exposure in when that growth rate changed a little bit from a manufacturing standpoint was with our suppliers. When you engaged with your suppliers in the early stages, you didn't really think about the suppliers being able to grow at the same rate that you were growing at. And what happened is the more established suppliers actually had that ability to adjust and adapt to what those changes were, both in regulations and compliance and scalability and production levels. The problem with that is when you're a young developing company, those larger suppliers tend to slow you down a little bit. And so companies tend to shy away from them because they need fast movement, mobility, flexibility, hey, I can do anything. When you get to a high volume or a higher volume, now all of those things start to become much more critical. And things like regulations, as those things start to change, if companies don't have that infrastructure in place, it's really, really difficult for them to adjust to that. The other part of that is when you go to small suppliers and you're such a large part of their business, 40, 50, 60, 70%, when you have things that affect your company, whether it's a slowdown in your business or whatever is happening in the market, you dramatically affect them and you affect their ability to operate. And I didn't even recognize it really until this past year. When I moved into the manufacturing side of the business, and as I'm starting to assess, what's going on and what some of the challenges are, and I started peeling back the onion a little bit, I recognized, why are our costs so high? And our costs should be going down. Our volume and our production levels have decreased over the past year, not increased. But our expenses were going up, and it's because we had to still pay our suppliers, because if we stopped our forecast demands to them, they would die. And so we had to continue to fund them and to keep them afloat while we got through this tough time. And so now we're starting to assess that risk and make decisions as to whether that's our long-term supplier and if they can fit into our business model. Because we're going to have more of this volatility, right? And we're going to have swings, on an annual basis. And some of it's ourselves, some of it's the environment in terms of reimbursement and how robotics is being viewed. Some of it is on the legal side of it. Some of it is competition. There's all these variables that you're going to deal with that your suppliers and the people that support your business have to be able to endure as well.